Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to a very special episode of Tame Valley Stronger Together. As always, thanks for joining me. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, comment, get involved, let me know what you thought about the series. And even if you've come this late and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Check out my other content. Things are a bit slow at the minute. Obviously, I was off ill for a while, been on holiday, but I've got a few things in the pipeline. Hopefully we can have a bit of fun before FM22 comes out. But before that, this episode really is for the hardcore guys amongst you. There's going to be no live comms, obviously. We're basically going to see what happened to the club 10 years after I left. I've just holidayed while I've been on actual holiday, so I don't really know what's gone on. I know who replaces me, and that's it. But I don't know what happens to the club, so it's going to be all new for us as we jump forward and see. We're going to have a look at a few things. We're going to have a look at a few of the old school originals, see what happened to them. We'll have a look at a few of our best regens, especially from the last few years at the club. See what happened to them, look at the squad. Hopefully they stayed successful. My biggest worry with the Valley was that it's fan owned. And a lot of the reason we kept on staying at the top is because we were successful. But the extra money I brought in from just bringing in players on frees and selling them on kept us up there with the likes of Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, Spurs, all of them boys. My worry is once I left, would the computer run the club the same way? I guess not. My feeling, I'm going to be honest with you, is there's going to be a bit of success and then they're going to crash and burn. Hopefully I'm wrong. I'd love to know what you think before you watch the video. So then, shall we just get straight into it? Thanks for checking it out. So here we have it. Crazy to do it. Hitting that button was hard to do. I'll be honest with you though, I have got another save file where I don't resign, and I might see how much I can play in my own time. I might have a go, carry on my own little story. But I resigned. Now, I brought in some amazing staff over the years. We had the best staff by far in the world. And when you leave a club, some of them always leave with you. The one that I was really gutted about was Zhao, the assistant manager, because he is next level. I mean, I'm guessing he wants to come with me, but obviously I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to chill out for the next 10 years. So I'm gutted about that. So again, this is another big blow. Not only losing me, but they're losing a lot of good coaches, and they've lost the head of youth, which was amazing. So yeah, it's gonna hit the Valley hard, this. Now we'll go over to the main page just after I've resigned, just so you can see the graph, the league history. You can see how it's all there on one thing, which is pretty cool. Now we started at level 7. I think when I started the series I got that a bit wrong. I think I thought we started at level 8. We didn't. We started at level 7, and obviously just climbed and climbed and climbed and climbed, and then just worked our way into the Premier League, and I loved it. I've absolutely loved this series so much, and I think one of the big misconceptions, I think the word is, I had a few comments over the last year. I mean, when did this series start? November, late October, something like that. Is that I win too much with stuff like this? But we genuinely didn't win a lot until the Premier League years. We really didn't, and I like that. I think that climb through the league was quick. But it was with playoff dramas and so on, so we didn't all come in second. We didn't always clock up them trophies till the end, but when we did start picking up the trophies, wow, did we start picking up some trophies. I mean, here it is. So you can see we've got 2 Champions Leagues, which I'm very proud of. Obviously we lost one. 4 Premier Leagues, which was amazing. Still gutted we didn't win the last one. Is what it is. World Champions, great way to finish. Very happy with that, because obviously I think we got put into that competition 4 years earlier. So I knew for 4 years we were going to be playing in it, and I just couldn't wait to get to it, I'll be honest with you. We've got 1 Super Cup, 3 FA Cups, a Conference League, 4 Community Shields, but then that's it. If you look, until we got to the Premier League years, we had a Vanarama National League title and a Sky Bet League 2. So all them other ways we'd come up was playoffs or coming second and so on. So I always felt like that was really, really cool. But yeah, by the end, I think that's a trophy haul over, is it 17 years I've been manager in game, that you could be pretty proud of, really. Now this is a squad, and it's not the squad we won the World Championships with. Like I'd mentioned, I wanted to put the club in a better place. I mean, financially, I think they really would have struggled if I didn't do some transfers before I left. Andy Bryan, the backup striker, had a contract that accumulated every year. I was on 400 grand a week, which ain't great. We had another couple of players who wanted to leave. Marcel Moore's been a great player. It's just his fitness has always done my head in. He was on a lot of money. We've got 150 million for him for Barcelona. So I'm not going to go through all that because I don't really think it matters. But what I did do is, obviously, I kept on scouting even though I knew I was coming to the end. I bought a couple of good little players. I've bought him a little prospect striker called Scullion. He'll be somewhere. I bought another striker who's alright called Everton. I bought Ryan Furr, who's transfer listed at United, or I might mention in live comms. I always like the look of him. Bought a few just younger players who were cheaper contracts. I did do one thing though. I bought Gerald Thiel, the guy at the top. He's my only big splash. Cost me 112 million from Dortmund, really. So I think we bought Moores from Dortmund, sold him for 150. Pretty much used most of that to replace him, just to give the team something. And I'll be honest with you, this is a player I'm never going to manage. I'm gutted about it because a 24-year-old German is going to be the only player I'm going to show you, new player. But I think he could be special. He's like a Marcel Moores, but a bit fitter. Natural fitness, 17, got stamina. A bit more of a tougher player, really. So, yeah, he's going to be Moore's replacement. And hopefully the future of the Valley. But like I said, I have no idea what's going to happen financially. The club could collapse. But yeah, so obviously now I've jumped 10 years into the future. I didn't save it, apart from 10 years into the future. So we'll have a look at my replacement now before he gets a job. I want that fuss of it. I wanted a big name. Now he's currently at Barcelona. He's been manager at City. He was manager at City for nearly 5 years when we were competing and doing quite well. He's been Juventus manager for 3 years. Obviously he was Spain manager at the start of the game. And he's been Barcelona manager now for 6 years. I've had some good battles against him with Barcelona, and he is a cracking manager on this game. He's 67, so he's not a long-term future, but after 17 years with me, they need to bring someone in like this, quality, experience, done it all. He's been at small clubs like Juventus, City and Barcelona, and now it's time for him to come to a big club before it all ends. So yeah, he takes over my job. So I think we get to it. Let's jump 10 years into the future and run through a ton of shit. So welcome to the 1st of July 2047. Wow, I am mega old now, by the way. I've had a good 10 years off. Just chilling out. I made a fortune, man. So this is Tame Valley's main page. And what I've loved about it is how rivals have become a thing. We had a lot of lower level rivals, but over the years we did get proper rivalries with big teams, and our first rivals became Manchester United. Now that is pretty cool to me. So they're up there with Denton Town, who never bloody made it. Arsenal are up there, City of course. I imagine City would be a fierce rival because we did have some battles. I feel more battles than United, but then it's been 10 years here that I don't know what's happened. So yeah, still the Valley Boys forever. The Valley Boys forever. Now, captain is Gerald Thiel, or however you say his name. He's still here 10 years later. He was 24 when I signed him, so he'll be 34 now. Wow. And vice captain is Robert Colgan. He's still here, and that's the thing. We were a good team and won a lot, but I built them as kids, even all these new players. They're still not even at the peak when I resigned. So the fact that the Colgan players like him are still here, I'd be interested to see if any others are still here. So, still in the Premier League, still competing in the Champions League, which is good. Legends, right. We've got Kane, Colgan, Andrade. And he's a good player. But he's more of a bit player for me. Maybe he became better. Me, of course. Icons, got Kevin Larson, Daniel Webster, Gerard Thiel. Scullion, the young kid, became an icon. Happy about that. Fletcher Graham, my son, is still an icon. He was a good player. Goal every other game. 60 goals in 120 games. Sam Lyons, Michael David, the big centre-half, he was on it. Favourite personnel, Centurion, that's good to see. Jean Carlos, not a clue. Latif Toure, not a clue. Managers, Luis Enrique and Jan. Really? I can't say his name, but I know who he is. So he was a manager as well. Over to the facilities, and obviously we're in the Brood Bowl. We all know about that. A lot of you voted for it. The ones who didn't, I forgive you. I built it in 2035, so it's 12 years old now, and I always tried to get it boosted the last couple of years, and they always said no. But finally it looks like they're doing it. 14,000 seating capacity expansion completed. soonage. So that's quite cool. Obviously, we still play at the Evolving Mindset Park. There's a training ground, still at Staley Bridges, our youth stadium, and everything's still state of the art. So the club itself looks like it's still, hopefully, at the top. Let's check in on the best ever 11, and this is very interesting. Now, that Trevor Scullion, one wonder kid, he just had a lot of framework to be a good young striker, and he was cheap. I love the fact that 10 years later, I mean, he's pushed Brian Kane out of the team, which is sad, but it looks like he became a fantastic player, so that was good, because his wages, I think he was on like 35 grand a week, whereas Andy Bryan was on 400 grand, so I needed to change that. I didn't want to just leave him, chuck him in the deep end with them kind of finances, but you can see that 3 behind him is my best ever. Lars on the left, Colgan on the right, Webber behind. In the middle you've got Andrade and the new boy, that's interesting. The back four, Woodsy at right back, Lyons at left back of course, David Centurion, and Grino managed to hold on to the best ever goalkeeper position over Ivan, who was a freaking legend for us, let's be honest. So that's pretty cool. And if you look through the sub bench, you got Kamara at right back. I thought he was a better player than Woods. He played more for me than Woodsy did. Or Flushable is still on that bench. Says a lot about him. So is Darren Motion, and obviously Brian Kane. So when we started the series, I did have a big squad, more than 30 odd players of regens. Now I can't go through them all, not regens, Patreon players, real people. I've made a list here of the main players. Can't go through them all, it'll take forever. Some of them never really made it, so we're going to have a quick run through and see what happened to some of the lads. Starting with Grino, who by the looks of it stayed one extra season after my retirement, and he retired in 2038, and that was it, chilled out. He made a fortune in his career. 2 of his moves made him a lot of money. He had big contracts at the Valley. Absolute legend of a player. I mean, an insane amount of games, 158 caps for Gibraltar. So yeah, absolute beast, great player. Loved every minute of having him as my goalkeeper. Dougie Black, the backup keeper, again he came back, played a lot for me though when he came back in cups, and I did really well, and I was fully intending on him playing a bit more, but he decided to retire, and as we talked about in a previous episode, he opened a chain of haggis shops around Scotland. Now they're everywhere. I think he's got one in Beijing. I mean, he has took haggis worldwide. Joey Page, I love the man, great person in real life, great friend. Our best ever right back, let's be honest, he was a beast. Now obviously we know he left, he went out into Greece where he did okay, played for his beloved Derby for a bit, which I always thought was quite cool. I love them little twists in a game. And then obviously we brought him back as a player. He played quite a lot. He did play in the quarter-final of the World Club Championships, and then the day after retired. Why did he stay to the very end? I chucked him on in the final maybe, and then became under 18s coach, which he was for 10 years, but it just looks like he's just become, as you might not be able to see because of my head, in 2047, Tame Valley's under 23 manager. Great. So I mean, I bet you if he went over 10 years, I mean he's only 45, he might become a manager in his own right, but the fact he's still here, he loves the Valley, and he's now a manager at the Valley. I mean, bringing through the kids like he came through himself. So Lyons, this guy was one of our best ever left backs and a true legend of the club, played for a ton for us before he went home to Denmark where he played for OB and Bromby, and then he came back, did play quite a bit. He retired when the season I retired, at 36 years old. Great left back. One of my memories of him though wasn't when he played for us. We just let him go because he wanted to go. I never got rid of any other guys. I only let him leave when they wanted to leave. I played a pre-season friendly with OB because I made sure when I could have an affiliate, I tried to get where the lads went to. I tried to have affiliate deals with them, and OB were an affiliate, and we played a pre-season friendly. And within the first half, I remember Martin picking it up and just vision passing it through our entire defence to his striker who went on and scored, and that's what he used to do for us all the time. I just remember thinking, you bastard. Our other left back was Willie Grieg, a young Scotsman. He retired a year after, so he was still in the youth team, so he stayed a year longer than me. But he went on, had a great career in Scotland. I mean, he was always a backup to Carl Martin, which is fair enough. But he's one of the players I was really chuffed for, because he went home to Scotland, playing for Queen's Park, plays for Kilmarnock, played for East Fife, came back, gave us a couple of games. Martin Smith, another legendary patron, great person. I mean, we're friends on Facebook, we've got to that level. So he's a good guy, like him a lot. And he was a fantastic centre half for us. And he's had some career after us. So, I mean, he's been at some clubs here, bloody hell. So, now I mentioned it, I think, in the last one. Obviously, when he retired, I made him an under-18s coach. He didn't do that for long. He went to become Stockport County manager, did that for a season. Then he was Derby manager for a season. Then he was at Watford for 3 years. Then he had a short stint at Palace, a year at QPR, a year at Luton, and now he's at Lincoln, sorry. The 46-year-old, full-on manager mode. I mean, he's not stayed anywhere long. Hopefully he can carry that on, but I think that's absolutely brilliant. Matt Dunster, another cracking centre-half in the early years. The first 8 years at the club, played a lot of games for me. He ended up going out to the States, didn't really play. Then he went to Poland where he did play, for LOLLUJO Warsaw, cracking team. Mad move for an Englishman. Went out to Russia, Brøndby in Denmark. I mean, that is some varied European career, which I think he should be pretty proud of. And then again, he came back, retired a Valley boy. Scott Kreitel, another good player, another guy who went out home to Scotland and had a fantastic career, then came back. I think he was the last available player I remember signing from the originals. And there were a few guys. I mean, there's one Craig Serres, I think you say his name. For some reason, it hadn't saved him, so I don't know what happened to him. And there's a few that's happened to, but yeah, Scott, great career out in Scotland, came home, legend, retired, happy man. Darrell Mochillon, one of our best ever midfielders. I mean, he's English on the game, he's Scottish in real life, but we all thought he was French. Great player. Again, he stayed a year longer, he was still in the reserves, didn't retire, took his paycheck, why not? Fair play to the lad. Now, obviously, when he asked to leave, he went out to Austria, and he had a good career there. He had a good couple of seasons for Austria Vienna, so fair play to him. Played some good football, came back to the Valley. But yeah, he's been a massive support to this series. He's given me games to give away, shirts to give away. He's been brilliant. And talking of a shirt giveaway, if you've entered the competition, keep your eye out on my channel, because I'm going to sort that out this afternoon and put it out on my community tab. I'm going to put the winner out at some point today. Ben Valentine, another cracking midfielder. For 6 years, he was with us. Played a lot of games and then asked to leave. Went to Bolton, became a Bolton legend. I think Bolton became an affiliate of ours. We had a lot of history with Bolton because we ended up moving into their stadium. They left it and built their own stadium. Then we bought the stadium. Then we sold the stadium. Yeah. Fun times. He went to Telford, went out to the States, didn't seem to have played in the States, and then we brought him home. Big Dave Bavara. A lot of love for this guy because what a weird career he had, and I was worried for his character at some points. Now, he was always a backup midfielder, but he's a great person in the comments and a massive support to my channel. But he didn't play a ton for us in the first 4 years. I think I loaned him. Did I loan him to Gloucester? And he went to Stockport. He went out to the States. Didn't really work for him at Austin. Played for Jacksonville a lot. Then he went to Montreal. Didn't really work for him. Then he went to Chattanooga FC. Played a bit. Then he was at Bromley. Then I brought him home. There was times when I thought the computer was going to get rid of him, because that can happen, when a guy just gets forgotten about on this game. But he hung on in there. He hung on in. And he hung on in another year. He's not silly. He took that paycheck till 2038. The unflushable. Love this man. Known him years and years and years in real life. Great YouTuber. If you go on my main page, you'll find a link to his channel. He's funny, man. He streams as well, so check him out. Now, the unflushable, as you've seen, it was never on paper apparently a good player, but he was a great player. Did freaking wonders for us as a team and a club. And still in the best ever 11 on the bench. And when you think of the players we've had at this club, even that middle chunk of players when we first got to the Premier League, we had some cracking players back then. He's still in there. It says a lot about him as a player and a person. So, obviously he came back to the Valley. He took the Stockport job after, Martin Smith? Was it Martin Smith? He did it for a year. When he left, they came straight back to my staff and nicked the unflushable. Now, he was there for 3 years. Then he left and became Shrewsbury manager for a year. Then he had a short stint at Huddersfield. That looks like it didn't work out. And now he's dropped down a level, but maybe he's just regrouping, and he is currently QPR's under-23s manager. CP. I'm always gutted that I put the S on his name. He's actually called Christian Peter, but as we all know him as CP. When they retire, it gets rid of their nickname for some reason, but great player, great person. Again, in real life, absolute legend. Played a lot for us, an absolute ton for us. And then obviously he wanted to leave. He went to Sunderland. Some of the moves these guys have made, same with my son Fletcher, I wasn't happy with him because sometimes I think they go for the money and it don't work out. He went to the States, played for Fort Lauderdale. the best part of his career, obviously, was when he went home, because he's actually from Switzerland, although he lives out in like Dubai in real life. He played an absolute ton for them. They're a decent Swiss side, but whenever I looked, he was either, and when we played pre-season friendly with him every year he was there, he was on the left wing, the right wing, played up front. When I made him, he was just a left winger. By the end of his career, I think he could play up front, behind the striker, left, right, in the middle, left back, right back. He became a fantastic player. When he came back, he was playing a ton of cup games for me and scoring goals. Lower level games, but he was still performing. So yeah, he retired, opened a chain of hotels and casinos, and he's living his best life. Sebastian Bach, someone we maybe not have talked about for a long time, and but what a great player he was. Back in the early days, in first 6 years, you might remember the tactic evolved. So by the end, I played 4 at the back, 2 in the middle, and then a 3 with 1 up top. But in those early days, you might have forgot, we didn't play like that. We had 4 at the back and a defensive midfielder, then 2 wingers and 1 up top. So I did change it, evolved it as we went on. But yeah, them early years we had defensive midfielders, and Sebastian Bach was our main guy. Then first 6 years he was my anchor man, my rock at the back, and he played a lot of games for us. Obviously he's Dutch again, he went on for a bit, which is quite cool. Then he came back to England, played for Bolton, and I never got the chance to bring him on because he retired when he was 29. Now on to our greatest backup striker, Lee Masters, the masterclass. He used to come on as a super sub. He was our Ole Gunnar Solskjaer back in the day. Great player. Now we'll have a quick look on this bit, because obviously he was with us, went to Oxford, Northampton, Crewe, Plymouth, Bromley, and then he came home, played a few games for us, which was awesome, scored a goal or 2 I think, and then retired, and was one of the players we managed to bring onto the staff. Became an under-18s coach, and he had that job for 4 years, and then he left in 2039. I don't know why. Maybe a new manager come in, didn't like him, got rid of him, his contract ran out, and he didn't bring him back. I don't know. And it looks like he was out of the game for 2 years, but then in 2041 Barnsley gave him the under-23 manager's job, which he's had ever since. So fair play to Lee, I'm really chuffed about that. The final player we're going to look at of the originals is Brian Kane, and possibly my favourite ever player. Massive for us, 323 games, 231 goals. He was a beast. Went out to Germany once he finally wanted to leave. The amount of people in my staff and the press didn't want him in the Premier League. He came in them first few years, won trophies, still scored goals. That first season in Premier League, he shocked everyone and did his business. So yeah, I love Brian. Again, in real life, he's become a good friend as well. So great to bring him home. He played a few games in the league, didn't score, but he did score quite a few in the cups. He retired a year before me. But yeah, absolute freaking legend. And as always, to all you guys and any other patron that I can't find, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for keeping this channel going. You really are special to me. Thank you. So here we are with the Premier League. It's 2047, and you can see some of them teams there, the usual boys. I don't know if anyone randoms here. Forest is back, Leeds are still in it, Derby's back. That'll be some good derbies between Derby and Forest. Joe Page would love that. But it's all about who's been winning it, and did Tame Valley manage to win anymore? Well, the answer is yeah. So that's my last season. Remember, we lost the title to Man City last game in the season, but I left him in a good state. Luis Enrique came in and won 3 back-to-back. Then Man United won 3 back-to-back with us here and there. So I'm guessing maybe that's where the Man United rivalry develops. Then Valley managed 2 more, and then Spurs have won 1. Lee Masters will love that. And then City are the current champs, but the Valley are nowhere to be seen in the top 3, which is worrying. But I still think they're a Champions League team. I think so. That's not bad, is it? So since I left, they won 5 Premier Leagues out of 10. They've won half of them. That's good, isn't it? So FA Cup wise, we didn't do bad in this. Won a couple, lost 2 as well under my stewardship. That last year, Burnley won 1. And then Arsenal, City, United won 3 back-to-back. Valley won 1. And Valley are actually the current holders, beating Spurs in the final. So since I left, they've won 2 FA Cups. Now, the one trophy that eluded me, and it's probably because I was B-teamed, it never really took it too serious. I don't even think, yeah, we did. I got to a final. Did I get to 1 final? Yeah, let's have a look. There's a lot going on here. I got beat off Chelsea in 2032. Now, Newcastle were the winners when I retired. And then after that, they've won 1. So they won 1 beating City in a final, and they won 2 actually beating Brentford in a final. So they picked up a couple, which is cool. Now I won Champions League and I won the Conference League. I never did anything in the Europa League, but they have now. Tame Valley look like they've just won it, beating Salzburg in Germany. So yeah, that's another thing added to the trophy cabinet. I love that. And obviously that last year I was here, we won the Champions League and then went on to become world champs, obviously beating Valencia in the final. I'd won one a few years earlier, beating Barcelona, and we'd lost the one the year after. And then I think 2036 was that year we got knocked out in the first round by Real Madrid. But the Valley have won another one. In 2039 they beat Manchester United at Wembley. That's awesome, isn't it? Dortmund have won quite a few since then. So they've won a Champions League as well since I went. They've also lost the World Championship. So obviously we beat City in that great final, that finale at the Stade de France in Paris. Barcelona then beat the Valley in the next one, and FC Bayern are the current champs, beating Manchester United. So yeah, gutted. So I think that's all the main ones, but this is the trophy cabinet as it stands, and obviously it's definitely improved through Champions League. Got 9 Premier Leagues now, World Championship, which is still mine, 5 FA Cups, 2 Super Cups, Europa League, the Conference, that was mine, 2 Carabao Cups, 8 Community Shields, and of course Sky Bet League 2 and Vanarama National League. So again, I still think they look like they've been quite successful. But then you see this. What's this? Is it starting to go downhill? So I'm not going to look at every season since I've left. As we know, they won a few titles. They were up there second quite a few times, and they came back and won a couple more. And this is the last title they ever won a couple of years ago. It's the last 2 seasons where maybe things are starting to go tits up. The year after, they finished 6th, getting to the Europa League. Maybe, yeah. So that's probably how they got into the Europa League, is it? To obviously eventually win it, because they've just won it this year. But yeah, that's worrying. It's the next season that worries me, because they finished 10th. Now they got into the Champions League because they've won the Europa League, but they finished 10th in that league, which is the lowest ever position in a very, very, very long time. Yeah, is it starting to, they've done well, I think. They've done way better than I ever thought. I thought they'd slip down a lot sooner, but is this where they're going slowly? I know they're still picking up trophies. They won an FA Cup this year, Europa League, they're in the Champions League, which hopefully they get some money for. But things starting to fall to pieces a little bit. But before we look at the squad, I'll see what's going on. Obviously, Luis Enrique was a manager for 4 years, and then he retired. He won a lot, didn't he? And then it's this guy, but is it Barami? I know him. He did really well, but then he got sacked even though he won the league twice and won 5 cups. Then they brought in Dimitri Payet, who didn't last long, and he got sacked. He looks like he was an epic failure. Then Paul Huntington was my under-23s manager. Now he's gone, so they've brought him in, made him an interim manager. He's won a cup, the Europa League, weirdly, this year. And then it looks like they brought a new manager, and he's just took over just before the FA Cup, because he's only been in charge for 29 days. So I'm guessing that's why Dingy's got the job as under 23 manager, because he's left, which is a shame really. Maybe he wanted a job and they didn't give it him. He felt, I won a cup, see you later. And now this is the current manager who's just won the FA Cup, so he's come in already in the final, he's won it, and he was Paris Saint-Germain manager for 8 years. So when they tried, they're still up there, they're still able to command them. I mean, they brought Enrique in from Barcelona, they brought this kid in from Paris Saint-Germain where he's won a ton. I mean, he's only 49, he doesn't look great on paper, but if he's kept the Paris job for that long, he's probably won some trophies. Here we are with the current squad. It looks quite small, and I've arranged it by age because there's still some boys here. Daniel Webster is still here, 36-year-old beast. He wanted to leave when I was leaving. I'm surprised he stayed another 10 years. Wow. Fair play, kiddo. Sam Lyons, the best left back ever in the world, he's still here, and maybe this is the issue. They've still got a lot of these old guard, and they're getting old. And maybe have they got the money to replace them? Have they got that future plan in place? Have they been getting carried by that core for so long, and now it's coming to pieces? Gerald, the guy I signed for him before I left, 34. Yeah, that was a good move by me. I'm happy I did that. Robert Colgan, the best right winger ever. He's 33. Wow. Who else? Michael David, he's one of mine. Came through the academy. Was a wonder kid. Now he's a legendary centre back. 31. He's still only 31 years old. He's got years left. I think that is it. Yeah, so they're the only boys that are left. But I think that's looking like the issue, isn't it? They've got some guys here, good values and so on. I mean, who's Carl Griffiths? I mean, he looks alright, he's 28. You've got who's this geezer? I mean, they're alright, but obviously you're finishing 10th. yeah, that's not what Valley do. So hopefully this new manager can come in and get them back to the top. Let's check in on some of the regen legends, some of the guys who brought in towards the end who were top players who helped us along the way. And Marcel Moores, loved him. He was amazing. It cost me a lot of money, but he was amazing. But it's his fitness. And when Barcelona came in 150 million, I thought, sod it, let's let him go. And he went on to play for them a lot more and retired last year. Craig McCulloch, great player. We signed him from Everton. He was world class. He had his moments where he was amazing and moments where he was shit. He was world class apparently even when he's left. But he went to City. Played for them quite a lot, to be fair, then ended his career at Spurs, retiring a couple of years ago. João, I also sold him because he wanted to leave. I thought, why not? It was a bit of a gamble because I think I replaced him with that kid Scullion, who luckily became a good player. Now he's still playing, and he's at Austria Vienna, Darren Motion's team. Now I sold him to Real Madrid for a good bit of money. Then he's played at Rapid Vienna, now he's at Austria Vienna, but he's still going. Over to Ivan, great keeper. We needed a good keeper. Grino left, and I found a wonder kid, but he was a bit too eccentric. Then we had a year or two where he was a bit dodgy. Then we found Ivan. Liverpool had gone downhill a bit at the time, and he wanted to play Champions League football, got him for a good price, and he stayed for 11 years. And he's still in the game, although he's never done anything since his retirement. He wants to be a director of football. Kamara, great right back. Love this lad. Looks like he left in 42, played out in France for Lille for a few years. He again wants to be a director of football. Woodsy, still freaking playing, and he's out in Valencia. Now he was a good player, to be fair. Right back, midfield, he played all over for me. He played a lot for me, 393 games. He was at the club for 13 years, and then he left a couple of years ago, and he's still doing it, and he's still a good player. Really a good player still at 36. So yeah, Woodsy, legend. One of the Flying Danes, the best of the Flying Danes, retired a Valley boy. 462 appearances, tons of goals, freaking brilliant player. He only retired last year as well, so you can see this now, that course going away slowly. There's a handful of them left, and I mean, we're not going to find out, but if this was real life, this would be a massive moment for the Valley, where they've really got to start planning and sorting themselves out. I mean, if I was manager, I'd just get, I know some of them are legends, I'd just cut these old guys, go out there, be invested in the youth, even if we have to take a hit for a few years to build again, to get Valley back to the top, because it's possible and it's very tempting to do. Mr. Andrade, who's a freaking icon at the club, played a ton. I mean, I liked him. What I like as well, though, is we bought him from America, not United States. His best years were with us, and then it looks like last year he's gone back home to his own club where he came from. Over to the history of the Ballon d'Or, and did we ever have another Ballon d'Or winner? Well, yes, we did, and I was freaking buzzing when I saw this. Obviously, João won it, and then the year after I left, in Luis Enrique's first season as manager, where they won the title, 27-year-old, it says, Daniel Webster won the Ballon d'Or. What a player he was for me. And there was a moment when I nearly sold him, and stuck with him, and he kicked on and became an absolute superstar. When I signed him as a striker, but he full on became a proper AMC, sitting behind him, creating. Brilliant player, absolutely brilliant player. Now, when I left the Valley, we were pretty much the best team in the world. I know they still got a 5-star rep, and you can say they're all joint, but they're not, are they really? Maybe they are, I don't know. Flamengo, really. So probably, yeah, but they were higher up that list. I think we're up there with Arsenal, weren't we? We're definitely the number one team. No, we're definitely number one team in Europe when I resigned. I don't know about the world, but they're still up there. And like I said, they're still competing. They've won a lot of trophies. I do think they're on that slide, but the slide's happened a lot later than I thought it was going to. So I'm really happy. Maybe I laid the foundations. Maybe the club's still punching above its weight like it always did. And it hasn't completely failed just yet. But yeah, I'm buzzing with this kid. Swear down. I mean, him and the German in the midfield, I'm gutted I've never got to be their manager, because I signed him thinking he looks alright. He wasn't a wonder kid. Come from Southampton. He's only 28. He's from Northern Ireland, but he turned into an absolute beast for him. And this is the kind of player at 28 they could build a team around, and they need to, or they'd be risk losing a player like this. And this is the kind of kid that could win them things, and obviously has, because they're still winning trophies. And I mean, I'm panicking because of what's happening in the league, but they still picked up 2 trophies this season. They've got a new manager from Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, I'm not going to do any more into the futures with it, but I like to think in my imagination that they'll be okay. Quick run through some records quickly, see if I could squeeze them into the episode. These are overall goals, and I'm thinking Webbo became a striker after I left, because he was the number 1 striker for years. people play different formations. Maybe he played 2 up top. I don't know. And obviously Trevor's took it over. But I love that, mate. Brian Kane. Matt Barton was a regen back in the early days, but then Kane came back, didn't he? Banked 17, and I'm pretty sure that's a Premier League season as well. These are our best ever players, and of course Kane dominated. I like to see my son on there. He did big. He was on the goal scoring charts as well, wasn't he? Leading goal scorer once. Nathan Barry, remember him? Abreu, bloody hell. Mertens, best player. Good little centre half, man. Marcel Moores, of course, Sam Lyons. My last season, it was Colgan, it was Webster Larson. The German and Scullion's just become the new superstar, hasn't he, of the Valley. Now I'm going to wrap it up here because there's maybe more I could look at, but I think we've seen what's happened, and I think hopefully a lot of you Valley fans out there are happy with what you've seen, and the fact that the club hasn't completely collapsed without me. I'm pretty chuffed about that, to be fair. I didn't want them to. But we're going to finish here with Limo, my original assistant manager and the director of this fantastic organisation, and I try to promote it all the way through the series. I mean, they're the main sponsor on the shirt, just to raise awareness for mental health. And again, I just want to try and do that as much as I can. If you're struggling, there's links down below in every video. You can get in touch with Lee personally. You can get in touch with Evolving Mindset. It's okay to not be okay. And Lee, again, has been a great support to me in real life. The series, he's a top bloke. And sure, go and check out his Football Manager streams. And yeah, the fact he's still Reading manager. He's been Reading manager now for nearly 20 years. Reading assistant manager, I should say. I mean, he must have seen some things come and go, and he's still there, hanging on in. Fair play to him. He's got some. I didn't want him to go. Obviously had that little stint, didn't he, at the South End, but yeah, great guy. And Evolving Mindset, it's been good to work with them this year, and hopefully we've helped people on the way, raising awareness. Maybe some of you have used Evolving Mindset through this series, so again, thank you to Lee and Evolving Mindset. So there we go, that is the end of the Looking Into the Future episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it enough to smash that thumbs up, get involved in the comments, really do. I've been away all day. I need to catch up on a lot of the comments from previous videos, but thank you. Honestly, this is it. Last time we're in this office, and it's not even my office anymore. I've sneaked in, but yeah, this is finally it, the final piece of the Valley story. But honestly, from the beginning to the end, I've loved every minute of it. I've looked forward to playing it, editing it, talking to you guys about it, seeing the involvement of you guys, and seeing the story of this club and taking this club from the bottom to the top. There was times when I didn't know if it would work, but it did, and we've had some fun along the way. I've had plenty of fun. But again, I couldn't have done any of it without you. Views always drop off with stuff like this, but you guys have stuck all the way to the end. This is for you, really. And thank you, honestly. I don't know what else to say. Unless you're in real life, I'd give you a high five, a cuddle. If you were good looking, I'd give you a kiss, buy you a drink. Do you know what I mean? But thank you. You know I mean that. I genuinely do so. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay subscribed. You want to become a Patreon? Links down below. Hit that thumbs up. Like I said, get involved. I'll see you next time. Can't believe we're going. Can't believe it. I definitely need to remember to take my Mandalorian figure. I forgot that last time, didn't I? And the picture of the wife on the wall. Why are they still there? That's a bit weird, isn't it? The wife's still up there. Weird. Anyway, bye.